Good evening, everyone. This is Tim Butler from Wyndham TV. It's election time on the 24th of October, and you may have seen these faces on flyers or posters in your area telling you to vote number one for them. But who do you choose? Tonight, Wyndham TV is giving you an insight into what some of these Harrison Ward candidates are about. Feel free to type any questions you like for our candidates throughout the live stream, and we will choose a few of them for our Q&A session coming up soon. First up tonight, each candidate will say their name, which suburb they live in, and share just part of their vision for Wyndham. Remember, you can find out more about our candidates by clicking on their links in this post. So let's start with Eli. Eli, could you please share with us and your vision for Wyndham? You have 2 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Oh, thank you very much, Tim. I think for me, it's quite easy for me to summarize my vision in less than 2 minutes. I've lived in Point Cook for over 7 years, and I've interacted with a lot of residents. I've established community organizations. I've worked with community members. I've volunteered in projects, and I've had that exposure and experience to hear different opinions from individuals and associations about what should be the priority needs in Wyndham. So I brought it together under one umbrella, and I'll say my vision fits under 4 categories, and I call it SITS, S-I-T-S. Safety, safer communities, an inclusive community, transparency in council, and a self-sustainable city. So when we talk about a self-sustainable city or a sustainable city, we're looking at a city that has local jobs, where we can have enough jobs here to contain our residents. A city where we have infrastructural growth that is enough to cater for residents' needs as well. Also, that's where we start looking at education, transportation, and that's where our self-sustainable city comes in. Also, having a circular economy, that's under self-sustainable city. So I'll say my vision, for me, my vision is to see a safer, inclusive, transparent council and self-sustainable Wyndham. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Eli. Appreciate that. So let's go to our next person, and Saeed, if you could please share with us your vision for Wyndham to the Wyndham community. Thank you. You have 2 minutes as well.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity to me. I have a simple vision for Wyndham, a safer and a flourishing Wyndham, which is built on an inclusive strategy, not only considering the physical or the tangible needs of us, but also considering the emotional and the intangible needs of our diverse community. If you look at Wyndham, Wyndham can be only understood in the context of Wyndham. Wyndham is one of the fastest growing council. It's got nationalities from 162 different countries, people born in those, and very young and dynamic, highly skilled migrant community, and people who demand the best, who want the best of the best. Now, catering to these needs is not easy. It's a very challenging task. So I am talking about empowerment, reform, and innovation. Now, as a counselor, there are 2 different roles for a person, one inside the council and one outside the council. Most often people are only talking about the role inside the council, which is more tangible, which requires more of hard skills. But you try and understand that there are a lot of people who will help inside the council. There is a lot of help available. But what is required outside the council, or the skills that are required outside the council, which are intangible, soft skills, require more of human skills, more of something to build the bridges or build the communities and bind them together and bring all the communities together to have a collective vision and work towards that collective Wyndham that we all desire. And that's what I want to work on. I want to empower. I want to give opportunity for all the communities to speak, to listen to them, and to make them feel that they are heard, their concerns are heard, their aspirations, their dreams are heard, and also understand what their challenges are and fight for to address those challenges.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, Saeed. It's great to hear the candidates' visions that they have for Wyndham. All right, so next on our list is Rohit. Rohit, you have 2 minutes to share your vision for Wyndham. Go ahead, please.
Namaskar, everybody. I'm Rohit Singh, standing for Harrison Ward. I have a vision for Wyndham Council to make it a Silicon Valley. I went to Harvard Business School. I went to MIT and I experienced firsthand in California how jobs are created. So I want to create jobs for highly skilled migrants in Wyndham Council. I want to develop Wyndham Council to be a smart city, a lot of co-working space, where and my company Idea to Network is hiring more people when COVID-19 people are firing. So it's open for hiring youngsters, Aussie, oi, oi. And I believe in whole world is a family. There's a saying in Sanskrit called Vasudevai Kutumbakam. That means whole world is a family. So I want to unite whole Wyndham single family and help them out. Like in COVID-19, what happened is a lot of people are losing jobs, but I came out and helped the community and hired more people. During the bushfire event, I lent my house for free for the community to come and stay there. I would like to work for disadvantaged children. As you can see, the back of my poster, let's help most poorest kid on earth by connecting with the latest technology. So I want to help all the disadvantaged kid in Wyndham Council. There are no schools are not top rated in the Wyndham Council. People.
Thank you very much for that, Rohit. Sorry, but your 2 minutes is up. Fantastic. Thank you so much. And next we have Hassan. Could you please share your vision for Wyndham in 2 minutes? Hassan, we'll need you to unmute, sorry. Okay, go ahead. You have 2 minutes.
Thanks, team, for having me on your show. Before talking about my vision, I need to give my little background to my voters. Good evening, everyone. My name is Hassan Naim. I'm living in Australia for 21 years, including 6 years in Point Cook. I'm running my own business as a pharmaceuticals expert in Australia. If you want to know more about my company, then please visit our website, which is www.pharmaexpert.com.au. And before this business, almost 20 years, I worked in leadership roles for global and Australian pharmaceuticals and clinical research organization. Apart from that, I'm heavily engaged from last 21 years in Melbourne with various community groups to promote multiculturalism and celebrate the diversity. I'm a founder of few non-profitable organizations, including Renaissance Drama Society, Bus Motion Pictures, Melbourne Multicultural Film Society. Also, I'm an active member of Sports Club and Building Blocks. I'm a visionary community activist. My vision is to make our Wyndham a place for better living. To achieve my vision, I have done a survey, and based on that survey, my own observation, I have identified my election manifesto, which is my mission. And my mission is to support and advocate with the local, state, and federal government to develop safer and sustainable infrastructure, ensure the safety and security, provide the support for better health and well-being, develop science and innovation hub, develop multicultural hub, and also develop multi-purpose indoor stadium for sports and recreation, support local business, create more job opportunities, support COVID-19 recovery plan. And also, if you want to know more details about my mission, how we can achieve it, it's described on my website. So please visit my website, which is www.hassannaim.com. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hassan. We really appreciate that. Just for everybody listening tonight, please feel free to type any questions you like for our candidates throughout the live stream. We'll choose a few of them for our Q&A session coming up soon. Okay, next we're going to move on to Cameron. Could you please share with us your vision for Wyndham? You have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Thanks for giving me this opportunity. Basically, I think about that we should have a town hall meeting rather than submitting the forms and everything to um, the voters. But what I have done with my experience in through my private and public and the government organization, I work in a management, business development, and marketing roles, from middle management to lower and higher management. I am a 9 to 5. I worked throughout my life for the last 15 years, and I represent that community who is working, and who have a problem like have a traveling, a parking issues. They need some good parks, cleanliness in the streets, and I need to work for the basics of the council, what the basic requirement of the council, the basic duty. I need to emphasize and work on that one, so that every community member have a clean air, clean space, clean society. They have a shelter when they go for a bus. They get the bus in time. They have a shelter there, and the other program, which is the most important thing, is recovery of the COVID one. So the COVID is to just support the small business at the moment. Need to support them, and this can only be done if you have some kind of a plan, a strategic plan to work with the different small businesses, how we can support them. And just when you give them an ease in their small businesses, avoid the red tape, give them support at the doorstep, reduce the cost. And plus, I'm in favor of the vision of give the one chance to the fine for the parking fines, give the one chance to them as a warning of the warning one. And other things, my main emphasis on the woman empowerment. I call it as smart economics. If you empower.
Thank you very much for that, Cameron. Unfortunately, your 2 minutes has run out. We're on a very tight schedule this evening, and we appreciate that you don't get the complete picture out there. Don't forget to click on the link for these candidates in our post to find out more about their full vision for Wyndham. Okay, so just remember, if you would like to question any of our candidates, please do that throughout the live stream in the chat, and we will ask at our Q&A session coming up soon. All right, so let's move on to Osman. We are looking forward to your vision for Wyndham. So you have 2 minutes as well. If you could start sharing your vision. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tim. Good evening, everyone, and viewers. I've been living in Wyndham for 34 years. I've, throughout my life, always involved in charity organisations and helping people. Now, we all want to talk about the vision, not ourselves. Everyone can see, they can go to Facebook and so forth and see who they're going to vote for. But it's important that we do convey to you our message for the vision. Wyndham is the third fastest municipality in Australia. We have to accommodate for this growth. For many years in previous elections with previous councillors, we've always heard a lot of people promising this, promising that, and so forth. And everyone's talking about change. But one thing that made me want to actually sort of run for council is to make sure that I'm part of actually helping the change, that transition. We need to have systems and programs to accommodate for this growth that we're having at the moment. See, nothing will be done unless we have a strategic and coherent plan. And we need to address issues such as the welfare of the community. We need community representation and consultation. And we also need better management of our local infrastructure and planning. So what I promise is when I am elected, and even in my campaign, I will help to create more jobs from our local businesses, help the elderly and less fortunate with accommodation services, which their circumstances which may require. Not many people have focused on families, low income earners, single mothers. It's just all about the infrastructure. We need to address these issues. Now, like I said, it's a rapid growth. So if we haven't got anything or to support them or support that growth, then we've left the people behind. So let's concentrate on.
Thank you very much for that, Osman. Unfortunately, you have run out of time as well, but there will be more time to share as we go throughout the live stream. Just remember, people, please feel free to type any question you'd like for our candidates throughout the live stream, and we'll choose a few of them for our Q&A session coming up. Okay, so first up, we do have some questions coming in. We do have one directed to you, Rohit. The question is from Mohammed Siddiq, and he wants to know how you can make Wyndham a Silicon Valley. That's his question for you. Go ahead, Rohit, you have 2 minutes.
I have already started my vision to work to make a Silicon Valley. I have started hiring. So the council allocates the land to schools and different departments. So 35% of the budget that is spent on the buildings and other things, revenue of the council election, we can cut that cost and invest into a building where we will have a co-working location and all the facilities, and it will be named as Silicon Valley Wyndham. And we will get all the youngsters, smart people to come and start and innovate in a co-working space, and will generate. If California in USA can do this, why can't we do in Wyndham City? We have a generation of so many IT professionals are here in the city that they have to travel to city. They will after we create the Silicon Valley, they don't have to travel to city anymore. They will be just staying in the council area. And there is a lot. If you really want to know my vision and my plans, go to www.rohitsingh.com.au and you will find out. I have done entrepreneurship and business transformation from Harvard Business School, and I have the exact strategy, plan, how to make a Wyndham Valley a Silicon Valley, where there will be a lot of jobs, not just for the IT professional, jobs for the tradies, the carpenters, the hospitality industry. It will create jobs for everyone. And I have already started doing that movement with my own company. I'm hiring youngsters. I need more employee. Yeah, and there is a lot to do in that area. There is a lot of budget money that is spent on the council. It goes waste. That money can be cut.
Okay, thank you very much for that, Rohit. Unfortunately, we are on a time limit. So thank you for sharing, and we hope that answered your question. Okay, so our next question is for Eli. Eli, this question is from Abdul Kwawi, by the looks of it. My question will be for Eli. How would you execute the vision you carry for SITS that you discussed? People promise but haven't delivered in the past due to Wyndham Council limitations. Do you have an action plan to negotiate your strategy with fellow councillors if you get elected?
Oh, very true. Thanks for that question. That's a very brilliant question. A very thoughtful one, I would say. So when I say SIT, so let me just, for people who are just joining, so SIT is safe, inclusive, transparency, and a sustainable city. I would admit that there are certain things that council are able to do, and council cannot do everything. They cannot solve all the problem. But there are several steps and initiatives that we can put in place that could see that these things are achievable in our community. So if we're talking about safety, it's long overdue right now, because it's due to the pandemic. We are all locked back at home, and there's been a drastic reduction in crime, but that does not mean there's a total absence of crime. So how can we, when we get back into normal, how can we get back that's going to be summer? How can we reduce how can we reduce the incidence of crime? How can we make our residents safer? There are several initiatives like that. We've been able to see over the, prior to the lockdown, we've seen an escalation of youth crime. And I've been able to work with youth due to my not-for-profit enterprise that I established. We worked with several youth, and we could see that there are a number of financial motivations behind some of this crime. I'll say drugs and mental health are just way down at the bottom, but financial incentives are one of the key drivers of financial crime. And also on top of that, you see social isolation. there are quite a number of young people who feel like they are not being recognized. They don't, or they're not being recognized. I was speaking to a young person previously when he said something about, we just want that recognition, even if it's as bad as being featured on a Victoria police post. Am I still?
Fantastic.
Okay. On the Victoria police, sorry, I thought I was muted. On the Victoria police post. So several.
Sorry, Eli, we were finished, sorry. We'll move on, that's 2 minutes as well. Understand that we are pressed for time, but hopefully that answered your question, Abdul. Feel free to go to Eli's page if you want to discuss that any further. Our next question is for Saeed. Saeed, this question is from Neve Walton. A lot of people talk about all of these new services they want to implement. How will you connect existing services to the people that need it most? You have 2 minutes.
I quite didn't get the question.
Yeah, sorry, Saeed, it's not very specific, is it? A lot of people talk about all of these new services they want to implement. Let's talk about transport services.
Yeah, if you're talking about the overall infrastructure that is in Wyndham, one of the major challenges, whether it is road transport or parkings at the railway stations or the frequency of the bus services and all these sort of issues which impact for residents of Wyndham. Now, let's talk about the parkings, for instance. Building multi-story parking especially in Tarnit railway station or Williams Landing station is going to be quite costly. So having a sectional approach for any problem will not work. We'll have to have a holistic approach. So if we want to develop anything, we have to understand first the short-term goals that we need to achieve, and then also the long-term goals that we need to achieve. And then factoring these two together and working towards that will make a difference. Like we'll have to bring, for example, if we want to improve the overall infrastructure, we're talking about getting sustainability into this local infrastructure in terms of adding new roads or duplication of the existing roads or increasing more number of bike ride lanes and things like that. So in what I'm trying to drive at is for any problem, the tangible part of it, there are experts who will have more knowledge than us who will drive it. But as a counselor, for us, it is more about advocating for that change, connecting the communities and working with those activists and understanding what are the bottlenecks of the projects and clearing those bottlenecks, which will be more essential in the role for us to do. And the most important thing is advocating change and connecting all the people to work towards it.
Thank you so much, Saeed. Now, just remember tonight, feel free to type any questions you like for our candidates throughout the live stream, and we will choose a few of them in our current Q&A session. All right, our next question will go to you, Hassan. And what we want to know is, what leadership experience do you have? Go ahead, you have 2 minutes.
Very nice question. I'm a businessman and currently I'm running my own company, which is called Pharma Expert Australia. And already I have mentioned before starting my business, I have 20 years experience in various roles in higher management in pharma industry. So, I managed a team which is 300, 400 employees were working under me. So I know how to manage the people. I know how to motivate and inspire the people to achieve the goal, to achieve the vision and mission of the company. So this is a transferable skill that I have. And also I'm engaged with the community, with multicultural groups from last 21 years. So I manage the event, which is supported by Wyndham City Council as well as Victorian Multicultural Commission. I'll give an example. The last year, I managed the event, which is called International Mother's Language Day Celebration. And I was the cultural coordinator for whole event. And I managed 23 ethnic group. They performed on the same stage. So I managed all those things. So I can use my management skill. I can use my listening skill. Like I'm very empathetic listener. So I can understand the issues from communities, and I can find out the solution because my background is science. So I always do I believe on data. I always do the analysis of every factor. And also, if it is not in my area, I can get the information from the community. But if it is not in my expertise of area, we can engage the the expert people who can solve this issue. Like for example, we have an issue which is like toxic dumping. Yeah, so in that case, if I'm not the environmental scientist, I'm the pharmaceuticals professionalist or pharmaceutical scientist. In that case, definitely we can have some sort of a special meeting where we can invite the expert.
Thank you very much for that, Hassan. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. You were on a good run there too. All right, so just remember, guys, you can put your questions on our chat right now if you would like to ask any of the candidates a question. Our next question is for Cameron. Cameron, the question is, what do you believe is the most pressing issue in your area, and how would you deal with that? You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. So there are a few very important issues in our area, especially with the very congested household in the Tragulina, and there are the cleanliness issues and the dumping issues, and there's a need more parks and more facilities for the families. And there are the main thing which require nowadays for the youth engagement. We need some civic center here for the sports so that we can create an annual sports or something, more sports clubs can join that area. And plus there is unleash dog parks. We require that also. That's the most important thing we have at the moment. We have very few unleashed dog parks even for there. So all in all, which I told, these 3-4 basics thing. And plus there is something like called a business bus or business hub required for the Tragulina and for the Williams Landing as well. So we need to engage more the libraries, need to engage more with the people so they can give more facilities to the community. And you want to ask for the solution as well?
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. We won't have time for the solution as well, unfortunately. Thank you. All right, so our next question is going to be for you, Osman. And the question is, what can be done about traffic congestion? This is a big issue for the community, obviously. What can be done about it? You have 2 minutes.
Yes, there's a lot to be done for the traffic congestion. There's always got to be good planning. There's always got to be consultation. There's too much traffic in Wyndham, of course. So the solution would be, for example, if people are going to move around in the area, why use your car? Use the bus. Use the bus. Increase buses. This is very, very important. When there's construction around, and of course that's all improvement, but we just need more buses to combat that. Sometimes I do wait for the bus an hour and a half, 2 hours, and the bus stop's right in front of my house. I don't need to use the car. So to minimize that traffic congestion, I want to use the bus, but there's no, 2 hours. So it has to be a different timing. You have to every half an hour or 45 minutes. But at the end of the day, I mean, like I said, the city of Wyndham is actually growing, but you got more cars. So that's the only solution that I can see. It's just more buses and bike tracks, of course, if people want to ride. But yeah, that's what I can see.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Osman. I appreciate that. Okay, so originally it looked like we didn't have time to go through the greener Wyndham and the greener, more sustainable Wyndham, but we have had a couple of questions come in regarding that as well. So what I'd like to do is give you all the time to go through your vision for a greener, more sustainable Wyndham. We will start with Eli. We'll go back to Eli, and if you could just share with us, and we'll give you another 2 minutes.
Thank you. Green having part of my agenda and the what I'm looking to support. under the sustainable arm of my seats. It's where green and a circular economy it's involved. Now, like for instance, you could see that we have a lot of issues, especially with waste management here in Wyndham. And in my research, I've also seen that there are several factors that has contributed over the years to more litterings and illegal dumping that we have in here. We have plastic waste. Sometimes just driving around the homestead, you would see plastic waste around there, and that's very close to our marine sanctuary. In days where there are heavy wind, we risk having some of those plastic bags flying over and into our marine sanctuary. So it's an urgent call for us to be able to manage a lot of our waste in a better way. So one of the key things that I've seen that we could improve the way we manage sanitation is driving around some of these areas where there are a lot of where there are frequent littering. I've noticed that we do not have penalty signs. We do not have signs indicating penalties that would apply if you are caught. And some of these areas also do not have street lights. And you understand that litterings actually take place in the dark when there's anonymity, when there's nobody who's going to find out. So we need to have more lights in those areas, especially during the nighttime, have signages there. And if possible, let us see if it is feasible for us to have CCTV cameras installed in those areas where there's been high frequency of littering. So that's just one aspect of our waste management. Also look at our parks, for instance. In our parks, we need to consider the feasibility of having smart bins installation. For instance, in our heavily used parks, you see we still have the normal plastic bins. So that's one of the smart bins could actually help us out there to manage the overflow. Also bigger bins for bigger families.
Thank you very much for that, Eli. Your 2 minutes is up. We appreciate that. We tried to cut you off right at the end of your sentence, so it all sounded perfect. All right, next up, if you could share your vision for Wyndham for us as well, please, Saeed. And you have 2 minutes as well. This is for a greener Wyndham, sorry, a greener, more sustainable Wyndham. Thank you.
2 minutes for this complex question is not justified, but I'll try and sunk it as much as I can, okay? Now, any problem whatsoever it is, you can't have a sectional approach and win over it. You'll have to have a holistic approach. So having a holistic approach means understanding what is the vision, what is the core value, what are we trying to achieve, and who is going to do what. Okay, I'm not talking at an operational level. I'm just rising up a bit and talking more at a strategic level now. What are our priorities? What are our short-term priorities? What are our long-term priorities? What can we compromise on? What are the short-term losses that we can take for the long-term benefits? We have to calculate all of this together. You know, we have a lot of things like our coastline, like our flora, fauna, which is rich and rare, the indigenous lands, the greenery around us, all these things. So I believe fundamentally as a counselor, you know, the technical part of it, I'm not an expert. I know that there are subject matter experts out there who are superb and they're helping. There will be a lot of help for me to work on it. But what is me as a job, if I am a counselor, is to connect, is to advocate, is to bridge the gap between the counselor and the council and the community and educate them, bring them together to believe in that we all need to work towards a greener Wyndham, towards our long-term goals, not only understanding our role, but also understanding the different layers of government, like at council level, state level, and federal level, and understand the flow, which way it is going. How are we going to contribute at a state level, connecting from the council to state and federal, and how are those policies like initiatives taken by federal and state will affect us? Having that understanding and building that with the communities, understanding with them and advocating heavily to promote that we need to protect our environment for the future generations, and sustainability is very, very important.
Thank you so much, Saeed. We appreciate that. Okay, so we are talking about a greener, more sustainable Wyndham, which a lot of people are interested in. We're going to move on to Rohit next. If you could please share with us your vision for Wyndham, for a greener Wyndham, sorry.
I have a clear-cut vision for Wyndham for greener environment. For greener environment, I'm an IT person. I'm a software engineer by profession, been doing that for 20 years. There's something called footprint. So carbon footprint. So the carbon footprint, we should have a point system. We should make up a point system, and everyone that has got the least carbon footprint should get some award from Wyndham Council. Like for my company, all my servers, I don't have in-house servers. All the servers are in cloud. So we should start using cloud computing so that we have less servers in-house and we will reduce the carbon footprint, number one. Number two, we should plant more trees. We should educate our residents to have gardening in their backyard and plant more trees. Like what they did in Melbourne City, like on the high rises, they created a park on the top floor. So create more parks, more flowers, fruits, and cultivate your own veggies. And this will all reduce the carbon footprint. As much as possible, take bikes. So we should have a lane for bikes in the Wyndham area where more and more cyclists can use their bike. Is good for health, less carbon emission, less carbon footprint, and less consumption on petroleum, good for health. So there are multiple ways we can use these technologies, and for everything we should have a technology running behind it for carbon emission, and we should have a list carbon emission that we can do, and the list carbon footprint. So by taking action, telling your friends, educating them how is the greener, the more greener we are in Wyndham, the better it is.
Thank you, Rohit. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. We need to move on, and we are sharing about the candidate's vision for a greener, more sustainable Wyndham. Next is Hassan. If you could please share your vision with us. You have 2 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Thanks, Tim. It's a very nice subject that we are talking today, which is greener, more sustainable environment. Already it is a part of my agenda. To support this greener and sustainable environment, I will advocate to, completely ban the polythene and non-recyclable plastic. If you see, most of the shops still now are using polythene bags. Before it was free, but now customers need to pay for it, which is hilarious. It's not helping our environment. I believe this is not the right solution. So what would be the solution? We need to replace this plastic bag by jute or cloth bags. Under my sustainable infrastructure, I have mentioned about the creating more cycling lane, and also encourage the community to use bicycle for short-term distance travel and reduce the traffic jam and reduce the environmental pollution. So, and also it will help for your health and well-being. And another thing that I can mention, which is provide like free composite bin. Currently, council have this program, but in that case, you can get the 50% rebate from the council to get like free composite bin. But I will advocate to make it free for household who need this these kind of things to to help our environment. If you see the average Australian household throw out up to 20% of food they buy, which is $1,036 per annum for the average household. Now all those foods are going out to the landfill, and that releases methane, which create the greenhouse effect. And these composite bins provide an easy way to reduce waste sent to landfill, cutting down on greenhouse gases and returning nutrition back to the soil.
Thank you, Hassan. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. Our next candidate is Cameron. If you could please share with us your vision for a greener, more sustainable Wyndham, and you have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
Thank you. For the greener Wyndham, Wyndham Council is already working on that one. So just to make sure that when the developer does the roads infrastructure, they build the park with the same time, not at the end after they have developed everything, all the dwelling. At the end, they are working on that one. And hopefully, if this not approved, or this is in the pipeline last year, so if this not approved till now, I will be approving this thing or make sure that all the development and all the new town planning will make sure that this should be approved, that they should make the park with the roads. This is the first thing I will make sure for that one, which we can do. And already, Wyndham Council is doing an absolutely great job on this one by creating more and more greens, park, and meet spaces, and a one tree for one house by law is already going on. So the my focus will be basically on the cleanliness of the park, to make the more cleaner park for our families and for our kids, give more facilities in the park. That's will be my aim. And plus, I will be more working and more awareness for the coastal park and the coastal area, to clean that one so our families can enjoy that area. So more greenery, that one. Plus, government has the pledge like almost $30 million on the cycling lane recently. So that I will facilitate to increase more and more cycling lane and path in our area. So that will be that. These are the few steps we can take, an awareness program in our society that can create this sustainable and a greener Wyndham.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Cameron. We appreciate that. We'll move on next to Osman. If you could please share with us your vision for a greener, more sustainable Wyndham. You have 2 minutes. Thanks, Osman.
Excellent. Well, that's what it is, sustainable future. I'll just be specific. I won't sort of go into detail. I mean, at the end of the day, 2 minutes is not nothing. We need more trees, more parks. We need better recycling facilities and logistics. We've got to preserve wetlands, reduce carbon emission, and of course, through some other councils like City of Hobsons Bay, they have different types of bins. They have one for the glass, one for the plastic, one for the garbage and so forth. We haven't got that here, Wyndham. Now, it's all well and true, you know, everyone wants to do this and we want to do it, but we need something. We need to educate the community, and that has to be through kindergarten, schools. It's got to start from the young to the old. So we have to have educational programs and the benefits of the of having a greener Wyndham. So we can do all that, but we need to know what the benefits are. So education is very, very important. And of course, at the end of the day, the toxic dump that everyone is talking about at the moment, I mean, that will, as you know, everyone's talking about, let's dump it in wherever, let's dump it in Wyndham. We've done everything we can for the greener future, but we're missing out on that toxic dump. We don't want it nowhere near Wyndham at all, as far as possible. So end of the day, like I said, it's all about educating the public on the benefits of having a greener Wyndham. So they're just the basic points that I would just like to stipulate. Thank you.
Fantastic, Osman. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And thank you to every candidate for sharing those visions with us. Now, just before we wrap up, what we'd like to do is give you all the opportunity to tell the people of Wyndham why they should vote for you. What makes you different to everybody else? We'll give you a minute each, and we've unmuted everybody. So what I'll do is I'll list you. When I say your name, please share with us. What is your point of difference? What makes us want to vote for you as opposed to the other candidates? You'll have 1 minute each, and we will start with Eli. And after you've had your minute, we'll mute you, and I'll move on to the next person.
Thanks for the opportunity, team. Why should you vote for me? I've been around in this community, and I've put.
Can you repeat the question? There was a.
Sorry. So I've been in. Tim, please, could you clarify? I'm getting interrupted, please.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, it's one minute for you to say why we should vote for you, and just why we should vote for you. What is your point of difference? That is the question. Somebody didn't understand the question, I believe.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Thanks very much there, Tim. So Tim, I've been around in this community for a while, And I have not just participated, I've initiated projects tackling issues, bringing solution to issues. I have worked on projects out of pocket. I have rallied volunteers together for us to work. I founded Culture Hive that addresses, that brings about social cohesion in the community. We also provide employment brokering and also skills training. Early this year, last year, we secured a co-working space to support our small businesses. I also brought TEDx to Wyndham. I'm one of the first people to bring the TED Talk program to Wyndham because I see that a lot of highly skilled people and we have unique stories and ideas that we can share with the rest of the world. So I'm looking to see that I brought that so that we could share our story and ideas to the world to bring more attention, to even boost local tourism in Wyndham. My professional background and my skills, I'm an engineer by profession. I also have management skills because I have my postgraduate from Melbourne Business School.
Fantastic, Eli. Thank you so much. Sorry to cut you off. That was the 1 minute mark. But for people that are watching, you can click on the link in this post to find out more information about all of these candidates. We are now moving on to Saeed. If you could please share with us why we would vote for you as opposed to any other candidate. What is your point of difference? Go ahead.
I do not represent any political party. I do not represent any group. I'm a grassroots level worker. I work as a battle-hardened soldier in the community. I am by the community for the community. And my pure intent is to serve. My pure intent is to work for the community and bring that positive change that we all desire in Wyndham. I've advocated strongly in terms of increasing the voting percentage, reducing the informal vote. I've worked heavily in educating the various issues that we face. Because of my engineering background, I've given a 5-stage breakdown for each of the issues that we are facing, explaining what is the current situation, what is my take, what is the strategies I'll work with, what are the expected results, and how you can contribute towards making a change. I can't do it alone. I need your support to make a difference.
Unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's move on to Rohit. What is your point of difference? What makes us want to vote for you as opposed to the other candidates? Go ahead.
Me, Rohit Singh is very unique candidate. I believe in whole world is a family. There's a Sanskrit saying, Vasudevaya Kutumbakam. And I'm the most youngest and the most educated candidate out of all. I went to Harvard Business School and MIT, and I started my company at Harvard Business School. I leaded a team of 10 people. I have management skill. I have over 10 people working for me, and I'm hiring more. I have been a college president in past. I have got the leadership skill, and I'm very young and vibrant, and I'm a go-getter. I have a vision for Wyndham Council to make it a Silicon Valley. Whether I lose or win, I'm still going to make it a Silicon Valley, and there will be lots of jobs that will solve the traffic issue. People don't have to travel to city anymore. They can stay in Wyndham, and all the jobs will be created in Wyndham itself. So I'm very unique, very talented, and young candidate from the Harrison Ward.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Rohit. We appreciate that. Thank you. Next, moving on to Hassan. Could you please tell us what is your point of difference, why we would vote for you as opposed to other candidates? You have 1 minute.
Thanks, Tim. If you see, like I'm a proven community leader, and I'm working with the multicultural and diversified community from last 21 years. And if you see my mission and vision, which is related to my experience and the real needs for the greater community, I haven't committed anything that I cannot execute. If you see my mission is related to my experience and the real needs for the greater community, which is, I'll give you an example. My background is science, and I picked the science and innovation. And I am working in pharma industry, so I picked the health and well-being, which is related to the pharma industry. As per my social and professional involvement and experience, I picked art and culture. I picked sports and recreation, job and business, etc., etc. If you see all of my mission, which is related to my experience and my knowledge, and I have full confidence, and I believe that I can make huge contribution to the council to make our Wyndham a place for better living, which is my campaign slogan. Let's work together to make it happen.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that. Thank you. We are running out of time. Next up will be Cameron. Could you please share with us why we would vote for you as opposed to any other candidate? What is your point of difference?
Because of my different managerial roles, and I'm a member of the school council for the last 2 years. That's like a mini the council, how the council works, and I'm different managerial and different role of the private and government sector. And plus, my main point is that just like in an organization, if you are a good community worker or a good charity worker, you must not be good as a counselor worker as well. The council as a counselor is a different game, and different work experience required for that one. You have to collaborate with different people. You have a negotiation skill. You have an influential skill. You can deal with the people. You're a good listener, and you can create a bond in different communities. That's what the counselor role is. So my main difference is that although I'm working in a different communities, a different community organization, for non-for-profit organization as well, but I'm also for the last 2 years in a school council, and I'm different.
Thank you very much, Cameron. Sorry, that has been 1 minute. Okay, so let's move on.
Team, I have a little question to Kamran Javed.
Just 1 moment, please, Hassan. We will let Osman speak first.
Okay, this is to the voters, and this is what I stand for. Now, voting for me is to represent you and influencing the change you would like to see in your community. You'll see me as your counsellor, representing your vision and interests to make a better, stronger and sustainable future. I will make sure, and the best of my ability, to make sure your voice is heard and your views are taken into account. Now, as to what decisions are made, and you'll always be consulted, and I will be the linking platform between you and the council. So I just want to create a modern, vibrant future, and I'm very committed, very passionate, and to serve you. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Osman. And thank you, everybody, for sharing why we would choose you over other candidates. Now, Hassan, you had a question that you wanted to ask. Is that right?
Yeah, I have a little question about, Kamran Javed's statement, because he said like counselor, like community leader or managing work or managing company is not suitable for council work because council work has a different role. If I'm not wrong, I think this is his statement. But my question is, from where he get this idea, like counselor cannot be a good community leader or counselor cannot be a successful businessman, because there's no hard and fast rule like counselor should have this quality, shouldn't have that quality. Then from where he get this idea, I want to know.
Okay, Cameron, would you like to respond to that?
Yes. This is a general idea about that one, because if just like a good worker can't be a good manager, that's how this works around. That if might be he's a good, I will be very honest and straightforward. Might be a person can be a good charity worker or a good community worker. So if you put them on a counselor seat, he don't have the abilities and how to work there and how to communicate and how to inspire other people and collaborate. So in this way, you lose a very good person who is working in a community and a charity who have a good abilities, and you put another person there, you lose two person at the same time. So this is the phenomena, the worldwide is phenomena this works. So you have to be very careful when choosing the candidates, very responsibly. You think what the basic role of the job is. You have to think what the basic criteria of the job you are offering to some person or you are standing for, first thing. And the second thing is that if this person you are sending to the council or any state or any federal seats, you know that this person can be a best represent you there. He have the ability, he have the experience, he have the credential. I also admire that people should be working in a community as well to be their representative. So people, they can bridge a link between the council and the people as well. So they can listen to the people. So that's my whole point.
And,
Okay,
I'd like to add,
Cameron.
Tim, I'd like to add one more thing. Just
add something there, Tim. Tim, can I add something? You see, one thing that is very frustrating for the community is the fact that every election year we have candidates rocking up from nowhere without any community experience, without any community volunteering, putting up their hands to run for council. It's getting frustrating for genuine candidates, getting mixed up in the bunch of candidates that came out of nowhere. So it's very important here, like in this conversation, I've not really heard a lot of people going on about what they've done. Like as a candidate, I've also gone looked through the candidate statements, and there's some candidates that are very familiar. We've seen their work over the years, over 7 years that they've done. Now, to some of the candidates here, what have you done? What have you brought in the community to show that to see that you're not just what the issues that you're hoping that you want to tackle? Have you tried working on them outside of council, and you reached a roadblock before you say, okay, I think I'll be able to solve this problem if I get on council? My personal experience is I've worked in the community, I have initiated project myself, and I've reached roadblocks that I find out that I cannot tackle this myself as an ordinary resident. And that's one of the motivation why I'm running for council, because I believe in council, some of the roadblocks I've met as a community resident, I would be able to address them and support the rest of council staff to make these issues better. So I just want to know more about your experiences, about what you've done in the community, instead of us just saying things out there to voters and confusing them. There's 38, let's make it easier.
Just because someone doesn't say what he has done does not mean he has not done it.
Now, I have a little question. There is a one thing, Steve. Rohit, just give me 1 second. Rohit, give me 1 second, please.
1 second, Hassan. I would like to reply to Ali Moose. A lot of time people do things for the community for a photo opportunity.
This was meant to be 1 minute, 2 minutes.
More.
Yeah, no, I'm 100% agree,
They
Rohit.
go there and take the photos next to that. And one thing, a lot of work has been done anonymously without actually telling that I have done charity or I have done some work for the community, right? So those works are unnoticed. I have done a lot of community work. I don't bring it up for the photo shoot or take advantage of what good things I have done in my life.
Excellent. And thanks, Rohit. I have a little comment, which is called transferable skill. We know, for a leader, you have transferable skill. Doesn't matter you lead the company, you lead the community, or you lead the council. So if you believe, if you don't have that transferable skill of leadership, I think you'll be fail even if you are in the council.
Okay, thank you, everybody. It is time to wrap up. We have gone over time. Okay, so that concludes our live stream event for this evening. Thanks to all our candidates for participating, and thanks to all our viewers and your ongoing support for Wyndham TV. Now, just remember, this is only a snapshot of what your candidates are about. Please refer to their social media pages for more information and questions. Don't forget to join us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. as we present to you Iramu Ward.